So, because I can chop this.
Recording now and playing on 3. 1, 2, and 3.
I wasn't going to do this one, but I decided I need to. New music. These are the confessions of a band geek. Time to get personal. If I could, I'd probably do things differently. These are the confessions of a band geek. Reminiscing, thinking how I got to where I'm at. Throwback before I even learned how to rap. Tell my story kinda sorta like my diary. These are the confessions of a band geek. Music molded me and made me, me. If I could, I'd probably do things differently. I used to only take my horn home once a week. These are the confessions of a band geek. 5th grade, I remember it like yesterday. I saw the band and decided I wanted to play. I tried the trombone and the sax, but that wasn't fun. I always had rhythm, so I wanted to play the drums. But ain't nothing happening, I guess it was too late. I decided I ain't want to play them anyway. Then the director told... You can lie. Then the director told me give the cornet a try. Handed it to me and told me to try to make a sound. Watching the hands to make sure I had the form down. Couple people staring, so I'm not trying to look stupid now. Played it so loud, I had everyone looking around. From that moment, I decided it was on. 5th and 6th grade passed, I was still going strong. 7th grade, my folks were glad I was serious about something. Moms took me up to Sadler's and bought me my own trumpet. For real. Before I even learned how to rap. Tell my story kinda sorta like my diary. These are the confessions of a band geek. Music molded me and made me, me. If I could, I'd probably do things differently. I used to only take my horn home once a week. 8th grade at Waldo, everything switched. That's when I met Mr. Conrad and Mr. Tripp. New beginnings, never seen nothing like this. Private school to public school, I had to get a grip. Met a gang of homies that I loved like my brothers. Straight clowning up in class, couldn't tell us nothing. Walked to school every day with Louis Sotero. Was taken way too soon, we'll see you again though. Freshman year at East High, man it flew by. Still all up in my shell, I was super shy. Was cool with all the jocks cause my brother Hoop, my cousins Treese and Ann had me plugged with all the ladies too. Sophomore year, it felt like having pep band. Playing in the stands, drunk off 211. At the games, me and Vernon used to wild out. And all my fellow band geeks know what I'm talking about. Straight up. Before I even learned how to rap. These are the confessions of a band geek. Music molded me and made me, me. If I could, I'd probably do things differently. I used to only take my horn home once a week. The year was when I started skipping class. My mom found out, I guarantee she kicked me. Did football one year and also did track. I threw the shot put in the disc, but really I was whack. Playing the trumpet was the only thing I stuck with. And that was only because my moms wouldn't let me quit. Hardly took my horn home, being lazy, I was good, and that's what drove Mr. Kaja's shot crazy. Can't forget the day he told me he was disappointed, said I could have done something with the music if I wanted. And Walton is a parade marching, that's when my vision to be an artist really got started. But everything I know now, I wish I knew it then. I would have realized this music is my calling. So all the shorties coming up, remember no matter what, time is precious, don't waste it, no stalling, go all in. Throwback before I even learned how to rap. Tell my story kinda sorta like my diary. These are the confessions of a band geek. Music molded me and made me, me. And if I could, I'd probably do things differently. I used to only take my horn home once a week. These are the confessions of a band geek.
Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.
morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 8 o'clock a.m. You are listening to and watching Good Morning, Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. It's a Gemini Monday. That's definitely what it is. So I know what you're thinking. No, it's a Libra Monday. It's a Sagittarius. Taurus. I said Gemini. Oh, Taurus. Yeah. I said Gemini. But that's going to come up in June. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. We have a great guest today. We have a speech pathologist.
Yes.
And we have Miss Illinois International.
Yes.
And that trail of great superlatives could only lead to one person, Mariela Narvaez.
Narvaez. There we
Narvaez.
go. Oh,
okay.
Perfect. There we go. You said it. Amazing.
Did it better second time around. I got it. How are you? Absolutely. Good to see you. As we talked about before the microphone came on, I have seen your work in different areas, and we'll also talk about the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention, the work that you have been doing, and all that kind of stuff. But for the folks who don't know you, and without me telling it, talk a little bit about yourself, say who you are, and let's talk about Miss Illinois International.
Wonderful. So I'm actually from the border. So I'm from El Paso, Texas, Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua, where the dogs come from, but not really. Okay. I've learned they're like, nope.
Got that out the way, yeah.
But I've been lucky to be in Illinois for the past 8 years, since 2014. My son actually came to play for Chicago Fire.
Okay.
At the academy team. So we've been Chicagoans ever since. And he was, and it paid out because now he's going to the University of Indiana with a scholarship. So it was amazing. As a single mom, that always helps.
All right. What's your son's name?
Seth.
Seth. Good morning to you, Seth. Hopefully he's up and not in the bed.
I know,
Mom,
right?
I'm still sleeping.
He's at school.
Okay, good.
Better be.
Good morning to all of our friends. And I want to say a good morning to our mutual friend right now, Mr. Eddie Torres.
Yes.
Great guy. And you guys have a lot of work going on. And also, I want to give a shout out to our brother from another mother, Bob Lockwood, as well. Yes. Dear friend of ours.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Bob. So we've got some news to talk about, but also this is a big week.
Yes.
It's Monica's last week as an intern on Good Morning Aurora. So, you know, that's why I said it now.
Right.
And I don't want to deal with it no more later on. You know, we're just going to get that out there.
We're gonna cry, though.
Right. You hit the womp womp. Can we
I just met her and I loved her and then she's leaving us. No.
Leo Zarco, good morning. Maria Charito, good morning. Norma Peterson, Aisha Saxon, and all of you guys. Norma Peterson, good morning. So, take me. Let's talk about Miss Illinois International. Okay, yes. When were you crowned? How did that come about?
So I never thought myself as a pageant queen or even pursuing pageantry. I never really knew what it was because I've always done community service. I was a big Rotarian, so my parents were district governors of Rotary International, and we would
Rotarian as well. That's right.
Oh my gosh, I grew up like in Rotary, and so we would build schools in the colonias in Mexico, houses. I would teach English to the kids in the weekend. So we would just serve. And I didn't need a crown for that. So that to me was just, you know, you have a servant heart, you give back to the community, and that you just get so much more and making a difference. So when I moved to Illinois, the first Ms. Illinois, because this is an interesting category, it's those single mothers, women who are divorced, also widowed women or women who have a woman partner. Right. So what happened to those women that didn't fit in those categories? So the Ms. Category came about. And I'm so proud of it because I've never really fitted into any mold. So I'm always breaking molds. So I'm just really proud of this because there's still women that, like, let's just say they want a kid and they don't want to be married. Or, you know, they get a divorce. Like, there's just life circumstances that, and there is no place for them to still continue to make a change and make a difference. Absolutely. So the first Miss Illinois contacted me and she's like, Mariela, you do so much on your social media, because I'm always talking about the things that nobody wants to talk about, and but about being positive and inspiring other women, especially women. I'm just I want to, like, as a sisterhood, just bring ourselves up, like, together, because sometimes, like, as women, you know, sometimes it's tough, it's rough. So I want to be out there for, like, other women, you know, you can do this, you know, things like that. So she's like, you're already doing this, but I'm like, I don't need a crown to do that, you know. I'll keep doing what I'm doing. But so the director of the pageant system called me, and I was like, oh my. And so I didn't know what to say, and then I really liked her, though. I was she was amazing at her story, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I've kind of been doing pageantry, not even knowing, you know, because she's like, you're already doing it. You just would have a bigger platform. So I participated February 2021, which I didn't win, and I got first runner-up. And I feel like there's a reason why all these things happen. A few months later, I lost my nephew through suicide. And so that was the turning point for all our family, and for me personally, because I had a suicide attempt in 2015. And nobody had known aside from my family. And this just hit me in a different way. And after mourning and all of that, I started to shift to mental health and to suicide. And because I knew what it had been to been in that darkest moment where you think that's the only solution, that's the only way out. And it wasn't. I was in a toxic relationship. So, sometimes, and there's just different situations why people decide to do what I did, to have an attempt. But for both me and my nephew, we were both in toxic relationships. And so I was broken down to the point where I was just like, I don't want to be here, despite having 3 beautiful, amazing kids. And I took pills, and I was like, I wish never to wake up. And I did. And that was just like saving grace from God, because that's all I could say. And I knew that I had a mission. And when his death came, I just knew that I had to do more. I'm like, how can this happen 2 in one family? This is something we don't talk about, because it was taboos, it was secret. Nobody wants to talk about mental health. Even if there is issues, like he did have bipolar, disorder. He had mental health, but nobody knew. And that's what I'm saying. Why are we hiding these things? Like, we need to make it normal and just be like, hey, it's okay. Like, I'm seeing a psychologist, I'm seeing a counselor. Like, we're just trying to, just like our bodies, we take care of our bodies, we have to take care of our minds and our souls. Like, it's a holistic thing. So then it brought me back to the pageant. She's like, Mariela, just come. I know you're healing. She helped me out with the whole process, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go. And if I don't win, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm just gonna go out there to say my story. I'm gonna do this for Alan. And so, Alan. Okay. Yes, 27 years old, Alan Reichman. And so I go out there, and not really, of course I'm crying through my speech, even though I had practiced it 100 times. But it was just our story, and I realized in that moment when I shared my story, something in the room just changed. Like, I felt like other people embracing me, and I felt like other people had been there. So I had fans instantly, like I had claps, and it was so sweet. And I didn't know what was going to happen, at the end of the pageant, but I just felt free, because like the truth is liberating. Like, I was like, what, no matter what happens, this is my truth. And I wanted to be able to open that up for others and connect with others who are struggling. And that's really just the first step. And then, of course, I won the crown. And now my work is, that is my platform. So I'm trying to reach out to those who are struggling and know that you're not alone.
Now, is this something that is cultural, would you say? I mean, the taboo and the stigma.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Especially for Latin American cultures, and a lot of, I want to say, minority cultures, like, oh, everything's fine, and all these secrets, things we don't want to talk about. Even like when his passing, we're like, what do we tell people? The truth. We're not gonna lie that he got into some car accident. No, we're gonna honor, because that's his life. Like, we're gonna not change one bit of anything, because that is the truth.
Yeah, I asked the cultural question because, like, in the African American community, is the same way.
Yes.
And I think that the reason why it's so entrenched and it's so hard to to break the cycle is because generation after generation after generation, we're people who, like, our grandmas and abuelitas and all those, they set the tone for the family.
Exactly.
Right? And that's what we kind of, if they don't like it, we're not going to like it. Exactly. If it's taboo to them, it's taboo to us. And that, that's the
I agree 100%. So we've had to heal generational patterns, I call them, because it's like these instilled programs that we have as families that they're not really good, and we're just carrying them over. And then because they were instilled, like grandma, great-grandma. So now we've changed as a family in a humongous way. And I love it because we are more open and vulnerable and truthful. And, we've had Zoom calls because, I'm the only one in Illinois, but we still have they're like, my whole family is on the border, and I'm the only one here, and we do these Zoom things, and now we're crying and opening up, and before it was like, oh, everything's great, and I'm like, no, I lost my job, or actually I resigned, I would just things, or like, it's hard being a single mom, like, we're open up and they're like, and before we never used to be this way. So I feel like, unfortunately, it takes something tragic. Why, for us to change our ways, but it's okay, it's changed nonetheless. And I feel like even Alan on the other side is healing us and helping us to become better people and be our highest versions, and just be living our truth unapologetically ourselves, because that was him. He was just a very unique person, like always so lovable. Like he would tell you 100 times, "Te amo, I love you," even to a man, and hug you. And people are like, especially in the Hispanic culture, like, why is the guy hugging me so much? But that's how he was, and he was born Valentine's Day, and I'm like, we should have called him Valentino, because he was just a lovable guy. But that's how he was, and he just didn't care. He was like, "Are you have problems with me hugging you?" Well, that's, but no, that's how he was. And I feel like that's what we've all taken. I'm like, let's just be us, whoever we are, whatever, with our gifts, with our, strengths and weaknesses, and just be us and just live truthfully.
What did it feel like getting that crown?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing, especially having my kids there. And my youngest kid, my Siler, was crying. Like
that had to be powerful.
They were so proud of me, and I've just taught them to just believe in your dreams and just to challenge yourself. Like I never thought at my age I would be, Miss Illinois doing these things, but I'm just like, let's just rewrite history. Let's make our own book and our own chapters, and some are beautiful and some are difficult, but it just makes us who we are. And more than anything, we're just chasing what we feel passion for and what is in our hearts.
Absolutely.
And if you do that, everything else just aligns.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yep. It gets tough though.
Oh yes.
People give up, right?
I know.
Soon as the boat starts rocking, that's when they're like, okay, maybe I don't want to be a pastry chef. Oh. Maybe I don't want to go to college. Oh no, right?
Don't stop, guys. Like, I was getting my master's while I was having kids, and I was this pregnant lady walking these campuses, and I was older, and then these young kids are looking at me like, why is this lady here? But I didn't care. I was like, no, I always just wanted to finish and get a higher degree and getting my master's. So I had moments where I was like, that's it. I'm going to give up. And because I had my kid was sick or, whatever. I didn't sleep, and it was just, I had those thoughts so many times, but I was like, no, I can't. And I tell people, like, if you love something, if you dream it, literally, it will be yours. You just keep trying. Like, look at Michael Jordan. Look at all these wonderful people that have failed many times to get to that.
Michael Jordan especially.
Oh my gosh, I love
him. Could you imagine if Michael Jordan let that coach, right?
Exactly.
You'll never make it, kid.
See, exactly. Never say, and that's me too. Like, if somebody tells me you never make it, I'm like, just watch.
Right. I'll be back.
Yeah, and I'm a published author too, so that was another of my passions of writing, because they're like, well, nobody makes money. I'm like, I don't care. Like, you just have to do what you love, and then hopefully it transcends and it happens, and it does. So
expression is worth, what you haven't, that's worth more than money.
Yes. That's your legacy. Like,
having an untold story is not, there's no amount of money that can salve you not getting, salve is the word of the day. Thank you very much. There's no, so you gotta get it out. And the best writers, or people who've come on to be the best writers, the kind of people that we revere as great writers, they didn't do it because they were trying to get rich.
Oh no.
Mark Twain was one of the poorest humans that ever lived. Yes. He wasn't writing to be, in 100 years, I'm going to be in the Guinness Book of World. That's not the point.
Exactly.
Yep.
I agree. So my book series is called the Starseed, the Initiation. And the reason I wrote it was for my daughter, because this little girl, Sienna, she was young, she didn't fit in. And that was me. Like, I just felt like someone dropped me from a planet. And here I am on Earth, and I'm like, I don't fit in anywhere. That's just how I felt. And so she was the same way, and I'm like, oh gosh, the story's repeating. So I didn't want her to make the same mistakes, like trying to be like the next person. I'm like, no, you're gonna be you. And of course, it's like very sci-fi. It's really about just discovering your own inner gifts, your powers, because we all have them. And it's really embracing who you are and breaking the mold, and not wanting to be like everybody else.
Right.
And so I wrote this as a main character, and because I have 3 kids and 2 boys, 1 girl, it had to be the girl, the main character, because part of her and her kind of intertwined as I was writing this, because I had experienced through these experiences as she was going through at only like 6 years old. So I didn't know how she was going to be at 16 or, as an adult.
Right.
So it was kind of like this character's kind of interweaved with her and myself. However, I feel like it's just like the hero's journey, like about struggles and figure out who you are, and really just listening to your heart and soul. That's kind of the gist of the book series. And of course, there's aliens and love and
Aliens and Love. And what's the name of the book? Hold on.
Starseed, the Initiation. And there's wormhole travel and all of that good stuff. Quantum physics, energy, spirituality, all of that.
I like that. I like that the Latina is interested in sci-fi and all that kind of stuff.
I'm like a quantum physics junkie. Like I'm a nerd. I know people are like, it's like you're a 100-year-old lady stuck in a 42-year-old body. I'm like, yeah. Right,
exactly. That's what an old soul. Yeah, there we go. Totally. So what does it take now to be, or to get to the level of competing on the pad? So prepping, I guess.
Yes.
What was that
okay.
Like?
So it was, and this was the first time I didn't really prep because I was still mourning. So because there's different categories, you obviously have to have like public speaking, because you do have to get up on the stage and speak your platform, also like one-on-one, so you get judged. There's a fitness category. There is, of course, the dress, which I didn't even.
You weren't even tripping on that.
No,
I got this.
No, you know what? I chose the wrong color. Apparently, white is what wins, and I chose fuchsia. You guys, like Mexican color. Like, yeah, I'm joking. Like super bright. Like I went with the Marilyn Monroe like vibe, like that. You know, that color.
Right.
But I didn't win the dress. That was, I'm like, oh yeah, I should have. But I just learned through the process, like, because I hadn't, like I said, been in this pageantry, and there's all these rules and the walking. My mom put me in etiquette school when I was in middle school. I never knew what am I ever gonna use this for, Mom? The walk. When I was pregnant, they're like, how did you? I'm like, yeah, my mom sent me to etiquette school. And so now my mom laughs. She's like, you see, you never know we're gonna need these things. I'm like, yeah, I guess so.
So now let's talk let me see here. Oh, it's 8:18 a.m. The American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Now, what year did that start?
So they've been around for like, oh my goodness, like 60 years, I want to say.
Okay.
They're an amazing organization, and they started to be research based, and it's really, the mission is to help, pretty much save lives and bring hope to those who have lost a loved one through suicide. But what I love about them is that they've invested a lot. All of their donations and things like that is for research. So they've created these wonderful materials, programs, all ages, little kids, teenagers, adults, like for college, like very specific. Like another program they have is Talking Save Lives. All these different programs to reduce and prevent, and they are effective. So this is why they're very important. And so as Miss Illinois, I've partnered with them, so we're able to present them in schools or organizations. Like I was just on the border, and I was on different media outlets, newspaper, TV shows, and things like that. And I had a lot of people contact me because they don't have the resources. And we do have material in Spanish, which is great. We have, and other languages. However, the videos are still in development for like Spanish. But I told them, I will work with you guys, because I understand, like, sometimes receiving material in your own language is huge, and they really are doing a great job to getting it in as many languages as possible.
Right.
But at least these resources are available, and they're free, and it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, but it's could be put in on the TV, in a classroom, like just in a centralized location. But I feel like schools is huge, because all kids go there, and it doesn't matter where they're rather than I feel like that's a great place to start. So I do have an event coming up with Oswego school districts, so to be able to present these, and that way at least kids know and they can identify, because like I said, there's been so many stories that after watching these videos they've sought help, and then the rest is history. So if all this, like I said, if it saves one life, it's worth it, because life is so precious and fragile. And then when we don't know if a loved one or young people, like, they're going through these things, how are we going to help them, especially when you're in that darkness? You feel like you're alone and you don't want to tell anybody.
Yeah.
And this actually happened to my own daughter. I'll be honest, with this, my nephew's passing, she hadn't healed, and she was 16, and she got to the point where she was depressed. She didn't want to do anything. She was in her room. She was cutting. She was writing goodbye letters. And luckily the school noticed some patterns. They kept talking to her, and they called us, and they're like, she's high risk for suicide. And I'm like, oh my gosh. We ended up putting her in a mental health outpatient institution. So it was an outpatient to where you kind of like drop her off. She didn't go to school. I just focused on her mental health at that time. And I know a lot of parents might not have that, but I urge parents, like, if they can, because I know we're like, oh, they have soccer in school, and what's going to happen? Who cares what's going to happen? You just want to address your child, you know. And I've seen such beautiful transformation from her. She's just like a stronger individual after this whole thing, and she's healed in ways that we could have never done that. And luckily, not wanting to find out if she was going to try something, you know, because it does. We think it's not going to happen, and it does.
We always think it won't happen to me.
Exactly.
It's not going to happen to my family. That's that family. Yeah. I thought the same thing. I told you my parents divorced when I was real young.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. You know, that's something that happens to other families.
Exactly.
And I was in Catholic school at the time, so that was a very, you know, it was the biggest bomb that dropped. But I remember, you know, and what I like about this, what I like about what you do, this organization, other organizations, is because I feel like nowadays the services have gotten better and more abundant.
Yes.
I didn't like life when I was in middle school, but I projected rather than like sitting with it. You know, I just did harmful things. And when I think about it, the outlets were few and far between to receive that help.
Exactly.
I mean, we shared about, you know, the eras that we grew up in and everything like that, and it was only an 800 number on the TV. It was Dare, McGruff the Crime Dog, right?
I remember that.
or a miscellaneous city government office, hours of 8 to 5, with people who don't care.
Yes.
You know, there weren't any other things to help you. And so it makes me sad how many people or young people who may have slipped through the cracks.
Oh my goodness.
That's why I'm glad now there's a lot more better ways and people like you to help, you know, catch young people.
Exactly. So like there's literally 120 suicides per day. That's too many.
Right.
A million attempts a year.
Right.
Like that were not successful. Thank God. But I'm like, why are there so many?
Yeah.
Why? What can we do to reduce that gap? And like I said, and see the numbers decrease. And we need to just provide more. And like I said, these organizations, they're just amazing because, and we work with other suicide prevention organizations. So it's not like, oh, if you're choosing them. No, we want to like touch other, you know, states, countries. Like when I was in Juarez, you know, in Mexico, they don't have many resources. The government there, I mean, I don't know, get into that conversation,
right.
But there's very limited opportunities, especially when their hardship, their economy is I mean, it's horrible. Like their minimum wage is just
I think
ridiculous.
Women disappearing is a big thing now as well.
Goodness. And then now there's a lot of women that have to work and have these crazy hours where they're coming back at 1 a.m. and then these horrible things happening. So it's just and of course and there's depression, there's you know, and there's suicide. And do you think we know, which I found out when I was there, the Chihuahua, that's my state, the capital, had the most suicide in the entire country. So I'm like, what is happening? And so they don't know, and what do we do? And of course it's like we're not talking about it. So it's like we need to talk about it, and it has to be, we have to just do better. And like I said, it's simple, like just going in. I'm like, I can come. I'm like, I don't care. I will fly wherever, and I will come talk, and I'll bring material. I will bring, you know, show these you know, videos. And we need to help. We need to do better because, like I said, losing someone is difficult enough. But losing someone through suicide this way, you always just wonder, like, what could I have done? Right. That just never leaves you. And unfortunately, like, the way this suicide happened, I was there. It all happened in St. Louis after a family trip. And we were all there. And all who were there in that moment, we all asked ourselves, why didn't I do this? You know, it just haunts you. So I'm like, before, you know, like I said, we never thought, like, really, we never thought that would happen. And it does. It happens so much. And especially now with my work, I've unfortunately having to talk with a lot of families who've lost someone. And they say the same thing. Like, what didn't I do? What didn't I give to make one different choice? And we all have choice. And that's what determines our path. And so I'm telling you guys now, you know, like, you're not alone. Like, seek me out. You know, I would love to, you know, provide any information, resources, or just to talk, because talking saves lives.
Talking saves lives. The time is 8:26 a.m. Good morning to all you great people. Tracy Hodges, hello. Casildo Casey Cuevas. Everyone is invited to Dia de los Niños event, April 30th.
Oh, yeah.
That's what, this Saturday, right?
Oh,
this Saturday, yeah. From 1 to 3 at McCarty Park. There will be toys, raffles, tacos. You had me at tacos.
Yes.
A clown face painter and more. Thank you for the link, dear sir. Got the link in the chat.
My gosh.
Josie Mendoza Geller, good morning. Josie, I want to say something to you. We met a mutual friend the other night with Sergeant Carter. I think she's related to you. Hopefully she told you that she met Curtis from Good Morning Aurora. We had a great time. Michael Rayford, Victoria Hyla Maldonado, and Jennifer Ryan Maton.
Oh,
wow. Actually, Monica, take me to a commercial real quick so I can deliver this breaking news. And then we'll come back. We're gonna have that next one. All right. News so brand new you can hear the paper. Look, this is hot off the presses. Okay. Tomorrow, the 26th, Tuesday the 26th, is Thank Election Heroes Day of Action. Our dear friends of the League of Women Voters of Aurora chapter, along with other local leagues, are putting this on, and this is something great. It's a day to thank our election clerks, election judges, and countless volunteers on Election Day who work tirelessly promoting safe and secure elections. Our democracy depends on each and every one. The dedication of election workers during the pandemic, at the risk of their own health, ensured that votes could be safely cast and every vote was counted. For over 100 years, the League of Women Voters has worked to ensure voters' access to the ballot box. Without these dedicated election workers, the individual, quote, voice or the voter spoken through their cast vote would not be heard. We applaud and thank them. Shouts out to our friends of the League of Women Voters of the Aurora area. All right, check this out, ladies and gentlemen. I know you will dig this. Sunday, May 8th, New England Congregational Church, 406 West Galena Boulevard in Aurora, will host acclaimed Chicago area chamber music group Orion Ensemble in a concert at 7 p.m. Guest violinists Roger Chase and Stephen Bowe will join the ensemble for the fourth of four performances in a 2021-2022 series at the church. The public is invited and parking is free. Admission is $30 for adults, $25 for seniors, and $15 for students. The ensemble's program will feature Mozart's Quintet in A minor for clarinet and strings K581. Bam, y'all didn't think I knew that, did you? Oh, gosh. And Borodin's String Quartet in D major. The ensemble performs classical, contemporary jazz, and works of women composers. Tickets are available at the door or at orionensemble.org. The time is 8:29 a.m. Okay, now, in our discussion that we've been having about depression, suicide, and overcoming that, let's talk social media now. Is social media helping or is it detracting from?
It's like a double-edged sword, I really do feel, because in some respects, when it's used positively, yes, you can connect. And like, I literally have had messages from people like, Mariela, thank you for doing this. You saved my life.
Right.
Like, legitimately, I was just literally crying. However, because we are so connected to our phones, and it's kind of like how we are perceived, like, oh my God, I didn't post my, and I'm a victim to this because I just got my phone hacked last week, and I felt like part of my identity was gone because I wasn't able to share and all that. So, but after each day went by, I thought, wow, I kind of felt a little liberated, to be honest, and I hadn't felt just that. I felt like I was codependent for sure to this, and so there's the other side of things, and I do want to mention something really quickly, because with our phones, instantly a picture gets shared, a comment. And sometimes young people, they share things that are not right, or, cyberbullying, right? This happened to my daughter, to where a comment got sent, and within 5 minutes, it was everywhere, the whole school. And to the point where she was depressed, she lost her friends, she was having to sit in another lunch table. And I mean, luckily it was the end of the year, but she emotionally, they don't have the maturity to understand. And to them, their life is over.
Right.
It's over.
Right.
Like, how do you come out? And I'm like, honey, and it's she's very strong girl. However, it was still like, oh my God. And I mean, and I talked to the school, I talked to the other parent, and but unfortunately, sometimes parents aren't aware that this is happening, and you just notice like your kids acting weird, or they're retracting their, and then they think this is it, and a lot of suicide attempts have happened from social media alone. because we feel like, oh, like look at that other person's life, mine sucks, and it really is not. I want to tell people, like, sometimes most of them are not even real, you know, it's just like fake. So like, you know, although I always post positive stuff, I post truth too. I'm like, let's just, you know, it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to not be perfect. You know, we all want to have this idealized version of, you know, and I'm like, no, let's just be us. It doesn't matter, you know, whatever that looks like. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, today is a bad day.
Right.
You know, it's good. It's fine. You know, we're trying. We're all trying as best we can. So I feel like sometimes with the power of connection is beautiful, because we can connect with people and maybe touch it, but there's that other side that we just have to be very, very aware and understand that our children, our teens will be prey to that.
Right.
And if they're not strong, and I mean, and really they're maturing and they're growing, and they're not where sometimes we're not even that mature, you know. So, you know, imagine them. So we just have to, as parents, as, you know, adults, we just have to monitor that and just be really cautious, because like I said, it's double-edged sword, so it could go either way.
Yeah, I see the double-edgedness with it. On the one hand, you're able to find and DM on Instagram organizations that can help you. Yeah. They are able to be contacted. They're on Twitter. You can push the button and you are connected if you need that help. But at the same time, if you scroll, then you got, you know, the people trying to live the other life and all that kind of stuff. Like, be happy with, I've always felt like social media should enhance you. It should enhance you. Like, you should use it to enhance what you're doing, not to draw your validation. I did some volunteer teaching many times, and gosh, they are right, because we remember when there was none of this, and you look at it now and it's like, oh my God, you guys are addicted. Yes, your whole identity is
true. And sometimes they're like sitting in the same table and they're texting each other. I'm like, okay, let's talk. We don't even know what that even looks like, or do you guys even have the conversational skills?
It's like the fear of embarrassment.
Yeah.
Is all that's keeping you like afloat. That's so, right?
Yes, exactly.
When we look at it now, but that's why it's important though, because now I kind of feel like we and organizations like yours, we're able to see it now. We can see it already coming. Oh yeah. Like, you know what? I can see the depression. I can see the withdrawing and things like that in different areas.
And I feel like now, like, maybe we need to like some healthy just time away from it. Like I said, since I haven't had it, it really has really been nice. So I'm even thinking to implement this as in my family, because everybody's always connected. Like everybody's with their phones, and I thought, you know what? It felt like really nice to not be so pulled by it and dependent on it, and like, oh, my friend, who cares? I can just call him, like, or I can just, you know, whatever. You know, it's just a different approach, like almost like going back in time, but like, it's okay.
No, yeah, I'm calling you. I do that. Yeah. Oh yeah, I call. Okay, Curtis, don't call, text, DM. No. Yeah. Boop, 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 boop,
exactly. You're gonna get the real the voice. Yep. Yeah, and I feel like sometimes even I call my kids and then they respond with a text. I'm like, no. I'm driving. I cannot do this right now. But like, as I ended up having a conversation with them, I'm like, guys, you know, we need to. And I love my youngest one is actually the one that he'll like call me for like an hour. So, mother, how is your morning going today? Like, you know, especially because with the divorce, he goes week. So, you know, and he just gives me, and I'm talking for him while I'm getting ready for work or whatever, and he just have an hour, and I love that because I'm like, okay, this kid, he'll be fine, but the other two, I need to work on them.
Right. So Juarez.
Yes.
Okay. In Mexico.
Yes.
Okay.
Juarez cartel. I'm joking. People know Juarez from like the bad things, like the cartels or like the narcos.
Yeah. Ozark on Netflix. That was my show. Oh, that was my show, though.
I love that.
So, from a 30,000 foot level, when we look at that community and what it's like, and here, or where we're at in our present lives, it's definitely night and day.
Oh yes.
But what can be done by ordinary people like you and me and anybody else who's listening to this to try to make a dent so we don't have perhaps more Juarez's, or we can peel the layers out of what's bad in our Juarez and make it better? What can we do? What can the individual do?
I feel like we all have a little bit of time or a little bit of energy, and that can always go back to like serving in some way. Even if it's bringing canned goods, or like even if it's donating your time, which is so valuable, or your energy, or just connecting with people, because I feel like we can build bridges easier and as people come together collectively to make a bigger difference. Like it's always wonderful, like when they have organizations like Rotary or things like that, to where or just volunteer. You don't even have to be like, oh, I want to go this weekend to, for this, because I get it. We live such fast-paced lives with our jobs and our children, our own issues. You're like, I don't got time. I don't have time, and I get it. Like we don't. But you can make 30 minutes, an hour, just a day. What I feel like when you give that, I mean, I feel like you just in some way it comes back to you. And I always feel like and I don't even you just do it because you have the open heart, and just to know that you're making a difference, even though you might not feel like you are, but there will be one person, and you might never know, you might never get a thank you letter, but just knowing that you did something is huge. So I mean, that's kind of how I've seen, like sometimes I would sacrifice not going to a party, like as a teenager, or or not, I would not go to work or have it, just I'm going to take that time to give to someone else, and that's huge, and more of us do that, coming together, we could do a lot for a lot of people that need it, because some people just don't have the conditions, the resources, and if we have and we can, we're not going to change the world in one day, no, but at least we can try.
Right. That's a well said. You're a speech pathologist.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about that. What is it? What's the day? What's it like in a day in the life of a speech pathologist?
So, and I'm bilingual, so I'm bilingual speech language pathologist. Okay. So I diagnose and remediate communication disorders.
Okay.
And it can be any population. Could be children, older population that like has a traumatic brain injury, or anything along the lines. I love kids. They call me the child whisperer, just because I've always liked kids, and I always wanted to be a teacher, and a psychologist. Like I wanted to be many things, but I just kind of found something that was kind of in the middle, like still helping, and especially communicating, because to me communication is huge. And when you don't have the words to communicate, to me I was like, how? Like that's like part of who we are, Yep. So to me it was such an important career, and I just love doing it because I connect with my little kiddos, and I get so excited when they're able to say a word that they're like feeling, or that they want something, and I'm like, oh my god, like you couldn't say this last week. So it's just like it's just for them to and even just their little thoughts, like like you just see them that they want to, and they want to say it, but they can't, and it's just like you see the frustration and all that. So of course I give therapy all day, and now I used to work at a school district, which anyway and then I ended up moving to teletherapy. So I'm actually still working in a school district, but I service kids from Las Cruces, New Mexico, which is back home where like my mom lives, and yeah, so it's been wonderful because I've been doing it from my house and connecting with these kids, and helping them communicate, and then working with a team of like the teachers and the principal, and just wonderful people who all just want the best for these kids, which is just beautiful. So that's kind of day in the life, and a lot of paperwork, reports, especially when you're assessing.
Okay.
When you diagnose, you administer these standardized tests to determine to see if they have a communication disorder or not, and then there's these plans that they're called IEPs, individualized education plans, and then they're like legal documents that the education organizations, schools have to provide services for these kids that need the help.
Okay.
So it's all about just getting the help that they need, and hopefully they can catch up. And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but they always improve. Like I've seen it. I've worked with kids with Down syndrome, with autism, very severe, and you just see the growth. And I've seen it, and I wept, because it's like, as sometimes even getting feedback from parents, like who weren't able to go to the restaurant because, or just like behaviorally, like, just I'm like, these kids know, they're very smart, you know, you just teach them some things and, you know.
Yeah.
But really it's all about connecting. And I feel like the reason why kids have been able to work for me is because I give them that love that sometimes they already feel like there's something wrong with them. Like they know, like they're like, I'm behind, I don't talk. And it's like, they hear it maybe and they already feel like they're dumb. And I'm like, no, you're not. I tell them, I suck at math. Like, that's the first thing I tell them. I don't even know how. I mean, I got into you know, my graduate program, but I had to write a letter saying, like, I was really low in my math course.
I still count on my fingers and toes.
Yeah.
12 times 8. I'll be right back. The time is now 8:38.
I don't know how these kids do these mental math. I'm like, I can't do that. So I tell them, look, I'm really bad. And we're all going to be bad in some areas, but it doesn't matter. We have a beautiful strengths. And that's what, you know, you have to find that. So they find that within them, and they were like, yeah, and they work for me, and they're just amazing, and they just, you know, they end up improving. They're like, Mariela, how do you get them to work? I'm like, just connect with them, just make them know that they matter to you and what happens to them, and then you'll see a change like that. It's just beautiful.
So how long are you crowned, or do you hold the title for? And do you compete again, like run again for?
So,
how does it?
I'll be queen all until the end of 2022.
Okay.
The new pageant will be in November, so they crown the new queens, but we'll still finish our work, and then the new queens start in January 2023.
Okay.
So because my title category is new, they don't have nationals. So this summer, my sisters, the Miss Illinois, Mrs. Illinois, the teen, they're all going. I think it's in Nashville, which is so fun.
Okay.
I was like, so they're gonna compete against other states because not all the states have my category, which we're getting that's a work in progress. Like,
okay.
Next thing that needs to happen because yes, like it would be great for the Mrs. to go.
All women should be represented.
Exactly. Yes. Absolutely.
Why wasn't that a thing?
So I
how it
because
started as an organization.
It was started as an organization. So states like Illinois, California, like the more like progressive, like making changes, have adopted it. But I'm like, okay, we need to do better, and it has to, and it will. But we just need to, hopefully, within the next 3 to 5 years, everybody has a Ms. category because we can't, like I said, like these women are amazing, and why? Because they have a kid, or because they're gay, or because they're widowed, or you know, divorced. Like they can't be doing pageantry. No, like
I remember I worked for a company, and every day for a long time, the guys in the department that I worked for were always trying to find ways to fire the pregnant women. They were always they would spend hours out of the day to find schemes to, and one young lady was she was pumping while at work and all that. Yeah. And I remembered that, and that stuck with me. And then I interned, and I had a friend I was working with, and she was pumping as well. And this is before I started this show. And it all came back. I was like, what a sad world we live in.
Yes.
And that's just one of the other things that made me feel like, you know what? Since I've actually seen it before, since like I've actually been in the room.
Exactly.
With she's got one more day of PTO time, and if after that, then we could.
Exactly.
Since I've actually like had them talk about it in front of me, I feel like compelled to, because that shit is wrong. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, and people don't think that that's really happening.
Oh, it does happen till this day, and there's lawsuits, cases about, and don't even get me started on the fact that women and other women having these kids as well, and they're trying to get them because they're like, oh, you know, I've heard and I've read, and I'm like, why are we doing this? Like, it's hard enough. Like, we already have to compete in the workplace against a man, number one, and then we want to have kids. Why not? We can do it all. Like, women, you know, let us not choose. Like, do we have to stay home? No, we want to make a difference. We want to make a living. Like, we want to have careers. It's fine, but like, don't, you know, be unjust and unfair, because we are, you know, bringing our child, you know. And I was lucky with the last one. I was able to bring him to work, and you know, doing all the things that you were doing, but I did that very effectively, and I managed. I used to work at the University of Texas at El Paso and managed this degree, well, it's not a degree. Well, it's a program. So I was the program coordinator there. So, but it, you know, it's like a part of you is divided because you're like, it's wrong, and what can you do? And other than just come together and like let's do right.
Yeah. And my mom used to take me when my grandmother watched me. Going back to those cultural things, right? Yes. Yeah, that's she formed my whole life. But my mom used to take me to work when she was sick or had some health issues. Yeah. So I can only think like what they thought about my mom bringing me. Right?
Oh yeah.
It's like we have to tear down so many walls, like. Exactly. It all comes back, and you look at it, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to change it for the next generation. Exactly. That's what we're trying to do. I don't care if the CEO is pregnant. Exactly. You still should be able to represent yourself professionally and have a job.
Yes. And just like we have sick days, and like now they're having mental health days,
right?
They have them in schools, and they should have them in our workplace.
You look at it and it's like, wow, it took so long to do, right? Doesn't it seem like a no-brainer?
Right, exactly. I'm like, because it's completely different. So I feel like I'm glad that people like you get it, and hopefully more people get it, and more people can be like, yeah, let's just.
Yeah, I get it. And I'm trying to, seriously, this is a platform for people to make sure that everybody gets it. Yeah. Everybody gets it. That nobody should be, since I've seen it wrong, we're going to talk about it, and hopefully it can spread. Peter Aguilera. Oh. My man. Hola, Aurora. Oh. Shout out to AA Electric Services. Get to know AA Electric Services, professional contractors. They can do anything in your house. They can make coffee. They can do drywall. They can put your electric and make it shock and spark. And
they are awesome.
And they are awesome. And Peter Aguilera is a dear friend of the show. Shouts out to Aurora Business United as well. Scott Hayes, Joe Jackson, and Gloria Gerardo. Debbie Cortez, Roel Vertudazo. Good morning. Mary Novoa and Tracy Duran. Okay, so before I get into this, all right, the time is 8:48. Okay. So Aurora. Yes. You've been in our town. You know what's happening. How are we? Are we all right? What you think about us? Are we okay? Because you live in Chicago.
No, I live in Aurora.
Oh, you live in Aurora.
Yes.
Okay.
So I've been.
You do a lot of work, and I try to stay up with what you're doing.
I'm
so
all over
I
the
apologize.
Place,
yeah,
no, and I'm an actor too, aside from. So I'm always like. And my son is an actor, so we're always like filming all over the city.
Yeah, so. Detroit. Yeah.
No. But so this is where I started working at a school district, West Aurora School District. Okay. So this is where I pretty much, and I started. It was nice. I love this community because it's very diverse, and you hear different languages, not just Spanish.
Right. Our Asian community is growing.
Yes.
Yep.
And so I really liked it because I feel like. Being far away from Mexico and from my own culture, which is very bilingual and diverse, like I felt Aurora had that because I had lived in Plainfield and Oswego, and I didn't feel that like I was missing that, and I'm like I miss my people, right? But I feel like Aurora kind of has all of that, and I've met wonderful people here and all that, so I just love it. So actually, when I participated, I was Miss Aurora, and that's how okay. Yes. So that is.
So you've been representing us. All right. Yeah. Awesome. Oh, and it does remind me. I mean, what do you like? Where do you like to go? Any good places that you dig for lunch or?
Oh my gosh, I love that place here downtown. What is it called?
Altero?
Yes,
I knew. See, we Gemini girl. Yes.
I knew it.
Yeah.
I love that place. It's so good.
Place.
Oh my gosh, and they're so sweet. Like they're always, even with like COVID. Like it was my birthday, my son's birthday. He's another Gemini, Seth. So it was just us, but we just had the whole place to ourselves because people were still kind of like, are we going out? Are we going out? They're like, no, if you guys want to go outside, and we ended up going outside. They're just so nice. I love them. So. And the food it's amazing.
Yeah, they do. They're an open, inviting place too. Yeah, they're a great place. Right around the corner from us here on Stope. Exactly. Yeah, nice place. Now we've got a couple of good events that are coming up here in the city. Fiestas Patrias, I think, is coming up. That's July or something like that, right? Something like that. Yeah. September. Oh, wow, I was way off. Fiestas Patrias is coming up. We'll have a 4th of July parade.
I was like, it's La Batalla de Puebla. No, it has to be.
Yeah, I don't, yeah. Like the black dude would know. Right? It's in December, right before Christmas. Well, we've got a lot of events coming up and everything. Are you going to be taking part in anything with the city? Like, do you take part in other initiatives and maybe a parade, stuff like that? I mean,
sometimes our pageant they do coordinate, but I'm always connecting with people. If they want me to come out, just call me, or I have a website, Mariela Narvaez .com or .com. I'm speaking Spanish.
No, go ahead.
Aurora.
Buenos dias, Aurora.
MarielaNarvaez.com, and literally I have a phone, email. If you guys want me to come out and talk, know, because there's different. There's a dance school that I'm going to go out there to talk, or just come out to an event. Oh my God, I would love to, especially if it's Aurora. Oh my gosh, it's like my town.
How can we help you? And how can we help the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention? How can we help you? How can we the listeners,
they're always open to donations. But aside from that, I'm before you even get to money, really just awareness and opening up to just like I said, if there's anybody that knows how a program can help teenagers, or I'll send the videos. Like I said, I can come out and talk to whoever I need to talk to, because I feel like we just connecting, and maybe what is it coming to here, to even the radio station, to I'm sure a lot of people life happens, right? And we get depressed, and there's a 15-minute video. Someone just be like, "Oh, I was really going through a really bad time, and this video helped me, and I sought help." But you know what? Why not? They're free, and if not, there's manuals, there's books. But I feel like sometimes videos are just powerful, is that you kind of connect with them, or sometimes just people don't have time to read, not an audiobook or something, So I'm just here to be a resource for others, and to connect, and that way, if somebody's going through something, reach out. I love to help, and obviously, if it's has to do with your life, you're deciding, obviously there is a number, and I do want to say, if you are at that point where you're choosing between life or death, call 1-800-273-8255. That's obviously, but we're always just raising our voice, demanding for mental health in different areas, and like I said, if anything I can do, I would love to be that voice, and like I said, presentation or just sharing the resources. I don't even have to come personally if you guys don't want me to, but you'll miss out. No, I'm joking.
Right. This video is nowhere near as good.
I love talking, so just give me coffee and I'm happy.
What does Miss Illinois International know and understand about the world now that Mariela from Juarez didn't understand?
So I feel like because I traveled very young, at a very young age, and I want to thank my parents, because not every child gets that opportunity. That's when I realized that the world was such a beautiful, complex place with cultures and languages, but now with all of my now present experiences through suicide and through pageantry and all that, I understand how vulnerable and how fragile people are, and sometimes that can be beautiful, but it's so tough because a lot of people are going through things, and cultures, that we might not understand, like we were talking about, there's certain taboos, certain things that kind of we can't pierce through, because it's oh, that's not how we don't do this. We don't talk about this. That's done. Don't even, it was that bad. So now I just realized that really the world is beautiful, and it's fragile. And let's just be more compassionate towards each other, towards being respectful of other cultures, of other languages, of just people in general, because that's how we're gonna get to change the world. If we don't have compassion, because people are oh, that's not my reality, and that's kind of how I feel. We feel detached from others, but no, we're actually interconnected, like a blanket. We're each a thread, and I mean, God, the divine, whatever you want to call it, the universe is the blanket. So whether we want to believe it or not, we are all interconnected. We all are one. And so when you understand that, then we can do more, because we're not separate. And when I just fall in love with, like I said, with cultures and traveling and languages and people, and I'm this is beautiful, how complex and colorful we all are, like rainbows, and I'm just if people were just more open and just have compassion for others, we might have a chance to make some differences,
Yeah.
that's kind of how I felt like my life experiences have made me just appreciate everybody and respect everybody's differences and beliefs, and and we can't all be on the same page. I get that. We're not all gonna see eye to eye, but let's at least kind of come to terms, like to understanding and being respectful of others. And I feel like if we do that, whether it looks really different to what you think or your life is, it's okay, but just respect and allow people to be who they are and live their life, because with all these judgments that we have, this is why half of the problem is because, oh, you don't fit into that, or why are you this way, or you're wrong. No one is wrong. We're just different, period.
Right.
If we could just embrace that, we can just have a different type of energy and world for our future generations.
The time is 8:57 a.m. Emily Bowe, if one person suffers, we all suffer.
Exactly.
Very well said, Emily. Fiesta's Patria, September 17th and 18th. Get ready for a great event. Thank you very much, Karina Suarez Darton. Shout out to Presidential Cleaning Services.
Awesome.
This is a great conversation. And I'm very glad to sit down and actually meet you one-on-one.
I know. I'm so happy. Thank you.
And I wish you the Gemini Squad. Yes. You're on social media.
Yes.
And you gave us the website, Mariela Narvaez.com.
Yes, and go there first, because right now I had a hacking situation with my Instagram, so that's kind of down. But my Facebook, I have the Miss Illinois, I have Mariela Narvaez, I have my Starseed book series page on there. But if you want to find all of those and my number and my email, just go to my website and everything's centralized, so that you can just find me in all those platforms.
The show ends on a positive note. What is your message today, Monday, starting the week off for the listeners in Aurora?
So I have a favorite quote that is from Pedro Salinas, and I'll say in Spanish first, then in English. So it's, si he podido aliviar la pena de algún corazón, mi vida ha servido para algo. And that translates roughly, if I have healed the wound of a broken heart, my life has been worth living. So to me, that's my life mission. And it's like, if we all have a power to make a difference, to connect, to smile, to say a kind word to someone, that transfers, and that might change that person's day. So, obviously, if we can do more, great. But if it just starts with simple choices that we do every day in our everyday life, that will just have a domino effect and carry over, and to have just a more positive and happy life and existence.
That is a good message. That's a great message to take us into the week. Thank you very much for that, Monica. Much appreciated putting the link to your website in the chat.
Thank you.
Raquel Horta, buenos dias, felicidades. Good morning. Good to see you too. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a fantastic episode. We hope that you guys enjoyed it, just like we did. Get to know Mariela and the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention as well. We'll make a post about that website a little bit later. And 800-273-8255 if you or anyone you know needs help or someone to talk to. Take care of yourself and each other.